So once we get going today, it'll be a 45-15 setup. Looks like we have 21 stations ahead of us. The first few will use a bench or something similar. So if you have a coffee table or a seat nearby, fantastic. We'll use that for a few things up front. Number one, though, is actually going to be a glute bridge. If you feel warm up enough to get into a single leg glute bridge, you may. I'm going to go double leg glute bridge as it is a bit of a warm up. I'll press play. We've got about 15 seconds until we start in that glute bridge. All right, 10 seconds here. So feet tucked in, somewhat tight the bum. Searching for height, but not overextending the back. So just a simple squeeze the top, maybe shoulders, hips, knees all in alignment. And again, I'm not extending in the low back, so my core stays tight. As I come up into bridge, I can feel some core tension as well. And it's just a glute squeeze. If you want to, you can pause at the top for a couple seconds as you kind of find that squeeze. And then rolling the toes out a few degrees. So instead of being kind of on train tracks, if I separate my toes by a few degrees, I might feel a little more tension there in the glutes. 10 seconds out, no rush. 5. Good, little air. So the angle of the feet I'm talking about, if we go from this position, roll the toes out a few degrees each, we should have a little more activation. 5 seconds out, we'll go back into a glute bridge again. So up, nice squeeze, have a pause, check the core stays tight. Our second exercise, we're gonna go into a bench dip. It's probably the earliest I've ever thrown in a tricep isolation exercise. I just figured it would be fun. 25 seconds out. One thing to come up and think about squeezing the glutes. It's another thing to actually do it, right? So take your time, up, pinch for a moment. 10 seconds out, then we go into some sort of tricep extension, dips, or wall skull crushers. 5. Good, 15 seconds to get there, no rush. Got a weird shoulder thing this morning, so if it flares up, I'm gonna go TRX instead. So we'll dip together. 3. Back should stay fairly tight to the object, right? Or the item you're on. About 90 shoulders, 90 elbows. As I finish the dip, finish being upright, I can press the shoulders down, right? So if you press the shoulders, squeeze the lats a little bit, then I can flex the triceps also at the top. So we don't have to cruise through tempo as long as we're integrating lats, squeezing triceps at the top. 15 seconds to go. The more fatigue you develop, perhaps the more you start to use those feet. 5. Good, little air. 1, 2, 3, 4. This station and then the next 3 will all be done on the bench. Or whatever you're on, coffee table, seating area. 2. Same thing here, back on dips. Elbows 90, hips about 90, right? Then drive the shoulders down, squeeze tight at the bottom. And if you want to have some fun at this point with all of the fatigue developed, now you can start to cruise for some tempo. Still 25 seconds. Next exercise, we'll go Bulgarian split squat with a pulse and a hop if we can. 8, 2. It's a long 45. 1 foot on the bench. Split squat position, right? So we'll have 1 pulse at the bottom. After that pulse, nice, easy hop up. You're going to want to utilize the arms, otherwise it gets sticky. So 1 pulse, whatever depth is good, nice, easy hop. pulse and a hop. Don't worry about getting a ton of height off the ground. More so toss the arms back, go through that calf raise, finish by pushing off the toes, pull the foot up a little bit. Doesn't have to be big. Landing nice and soft. 15 seconds to go. Trying to use the glute and hamstring on that front leg as the prime mover and the brake. 5. Good. Oh. 8 seconds. Switch feet, same thing. Check the knee angle on front knee, right? We shouldn't be too far forward in the knee. Sit back into it, so the glute and hamstring there have some utilization. And hopefully lighten that back foot. If you're feeling a lot of quad on the leg behind you, you're probably heavy in the foot. That or inflexible. 20 seconds to go. We're going to go into a single arm dumbbell bent over row next. 10. 3. Good. Load your bells if you have options there. 5 seconds. You compare your breathing with the pull. It's an exhale on the pull, inhale on the reach. Hips stay pretty squared up. I would suggest having a lot of weight in that front hand, right? So use that front arm for an anchor point to reduce the fatigue in the back. 20 seconds out. The weight's feeling light at this point. Put in some volume. 10. 2. Didn't do a lot of HIIT on vacation, I can tell. It's hard, man. Lifting weights is cool. HIIT sucks. 2, in a good way. Same idea, heavy front arm, maybe reaching midline of body. So I like my feet a little wider. My left arm's reaching to the center of body. Pulling the elbow back out and around. Squeezing the bicep and lat at the finish. Next station, we go into pistol squats. So we'll use whatever your hand is on now. If pistol squats are aggressive for you, we can always alternate each rep. 8 seconds here. 2. Awesome. 3 ways to pistol squat. The leg can be extended, the leg can run in parallel, or the heel down. 2, I am going to alternate legs. So one on my left, stand tall, switch feet onto my right hand side. I don't mind the feet running in parallel for myself. It's a little less hip flexor activation for me, which feels better. Arms will probably extend on the way down. Back in the body here as we sit. Extend the arms, have some counterweight out there in space. Should allow you to sit back at the hips more. Getting a little more glute hamstring activation. 10 seconds. 2. After pistol squats, we'll go to the ab mat. We'll be done with this thing for, looks like, potentially the rest of the workout. Pistols again. Depending on your breathing cadence here, you might find yourself inhaling as we sit, exhale on the stand. If you want to put in some tempo, you can. If you're a little slower here and more deliberate, fantastic. Next station, we're going to go high plank jacks. So from a push-up position, instead of a plank position, and then jumping jacks in the feet. 15 seconds here. 5. Good, some air. So from a push-up base, probably more weight in my arms than usual. Feet will go in and out. If and when it gets crazy, I can switch for a lateral foot tap. 2. Hips maybe up a little higher than normal, just so we have a little bit of leeway in the event the hips fall slightly, the back's not compromised. As the legs fatigue, more weight in the hands. Shift the body weight forward, walk the feet forward a little more. Then again, our regression here would just be a lateral toe tap. 15 seconds. Don't feel like you have to get huge amounts of distance between the feet. Just pop, pop, pop. 5. Little air. Five seconds out, same thing. Check the shoulders too, make sure they're not shrugging up. So keep the lats engaged, shoulders down. After high plank jacks, we're gonna stay on the ground, going into a static dead bug. If you feel your form starting to break down, you can always rest for a moment and try to get back into that pop, pop, pop. 20 seconds. Ten. Seven left. 5. Good set on our back, low back, then we pin down. You might even hug your knees to start, just to make sure that low back's tight. From there, perhaps shoulders up in the air. Let the body reach, hold nice and still. Then thinking about that posterior tilt we started with, how we rolled the knees to the chest to plant the low back down. Try to find that position. Again, roll the hips, smash the back, elevate the shoulders. 20 seconds out. Ten. 2. Lower. 5 seconds. Grab the knees if you want. Smash that back down and start with some extension. After dead bugs, we're going to get into a dumbbell thruster. I don't know if we've ever done it this way before, but we'll have 2 hands on shoulders. You're gonna stand, press one arm, squat back down, stand, press the other arm. So an alternating dumbbell thruster. Somewhat single arm, but you're gonna have 2 weights. 20 seconds here. It might allow you to go heavier than usual with the dumbbell thruster, being as though the shoulders are typically the limiting factor. 5. Good, some air, grab some weights. So with dumbbells on shoulders, we're gonna have a sit, press overhead with one arm. Sit down, press overhead with the other arm. And you might try to find that dumbbell on the arm that's not pressing. Pull down into the shoulder tight. There's not a lot of wiggle with that dumbbell. Figure out how to secure it. And then on that overhead press, making sure the rib cage is pulled down tight, so not extending the back. Bit of time left, 15 seconds. Being aggressive through the legs. Prime mover there. Allow the hand to float overhead. 3. 5 seconds. Same idea. Nice inhale, sit. Exhale and press overhead. If this still becomes more shoulder dominant than you like, you can always do one squat without any overhead press. Next station, single leg, rear delt fly. Real light weights, or just the weight of the arms themselves. 15 seconds. 5. 'm gonna roll my bells down to 5. If you're super stable, you can stand on a pad, but from a single leg RDL base, pull the bells back, squeeze the shoulders down. So it's less about being parallel with our movement in relationship to the room, and more about pulling the arms perpendicular to torso. So I'm going to match the angle of my torso with my pull. 15 seconds out. The back leg or the extended leg, that glute should stay tight as the leg stays long. 5 seconds here. 5 seconds, same thing. Grab your weights. If you're unweighted, thumbs toward the ceiling. Same idea, kick that back leg long. Squeeze the glute on the back leg. And then match the torso angle with the pull. So if you're parallel to the floor with your torso, then sure, pull vertical in relation to the room. But if you're not parallel to the floor, there should be a draw behind the body with the hands. Our next exercise, single leg again, but single leg alternating curl. So whatever leg is down now will not be the leg down first. 10 seconds. 5. Grab some air. Load the bells up a little heavier. Like the pistol squat earlier, a few different ways to hold that leg. If your hip flexor bugs you, you can stack the foot like this. That front knee stays bent a little bit. Weight primarily in the heel. Core stays tight. The glute on that down leg is also snug. And like the rear fly, if you're super stable, you can always stand on something to increase the instability. Heavy weights will move pretty deliberate. Light weights will be pretty quick. 10 seconds. Regardless, not a lot of elbow motion here. 5. Good, some air, and we'll switch sides. Same thing, I'm gonna run my knee kind of in parallel versus up. But if you like it, pull that knee tall. After our curls, we're gonna reverse lunge with rotation. In the reverse lunge rotation, whatever my stationary leg is, will be my front leg. We're gonna rotate over that front leg as we reverse reverse lunge with rotation. Don't need a lot of weight there, especially if the limb length is long through the arms. 10 seconds out. 5. Good, some air. Unload those weights. Stay as little as 5. So with my right foot staying stationary, my left leg's coming back. I'm then rotating over my right leg. Standing tall to a knee tuck. Work on some stability. Back and down. And I'm doing my best to make sure my hands stay about chest height. So as I come down and back, hands are going to drop in height. Arms stay nice, long, extended. Probably inhale here. Exhale at the top. 20 seconds out. You should feel a little bit of oblique activation and stretch on the side you're rotating away from. So if you're synced with me, your left leg's in motion. When I rotate to my right, I feel my left oblique. 3. There. Probably some anterior delts as well, just from having the arms up. After this reverse lunge rotation, we're going to rehab side plank. So we'll be back on the ground, hands nice and high, tummy tall, knee tucked to center. Doing my best to only touch my foot behind the body, then relying on some stability, carrying me the rest of the way through. Again, next exercise, still 25 seconds out. Rehab side plank. Bottom knee on the ground, bottom forearm on the ground, top leg lift. 15 seconds here. Keep the same crispness. Nice big rotation. 5, 2. Beautiful. Doing good. Starting to get into the second half of things now. Sun's coming up. Man, it's so cold in the morning though. 2. I've got a straight line from my shoulder, my hip, into my knee, both from a front view as well as from a top-down view. Nice and slow on the lift, nice and easy on the drop. The faster we are through this range of motion, probably the easier it is, right? So nice and slow, and check the toe, make sure it's not pointed to the ceiling. Toes stay straight ahead, glutes stay active, hips stay driven forward. 15 seconds here. Bottom oblique stays tight, right? Make sure that bottom oblique's on, almost purposely on. 5, 2. John's about to walk by. Same idea, bottom knee, check the angle, straight line, shoulder, hip, knee, and then from the top as well. First rep always feels fatigued already. After rehab side plank, we're gonna lateral lunge with a reach toward foot and take an overhead press. Hi, Jock. It's all right, man, good morning. Just because I'm skinny. Lateral lunge with a reach and curl and overhead press coming up. 15 seconds still in this position. Like I mentioned, the other side, work on that bottom oblique. It's going to be active from the side plank, but think about trying to put a little extra tension in at 5. Good. 2 dumbbells in hand. Not too heavy. I'm going to grab 12 myself. Work more on volume than overall weight. I'm gonna step to my right hand side, leave my left leg long, reach both arms down, stand tall, knee tuck, and overhead press. Nice big reach out the side, allowing those dumbbells to kind of draw me down into that squat. Low back should stay nice and flat. And then like the exercise a bit ago, that reverse lunge with rotation, only setting my foot down on the outside of this movement. The stationary leg stays nice and long. Nice big stretch in that adductor and hamstring. 5 seconds here. 2. Good, weight down. Five seconds out. Same thing to the side 2. Big reach, arms on either side of the leg. Press off that outside foot. Drive overhead. We have a little bit of a calmer station next. We'll go into a cross crunch on our back. Kind of a figure 4 position. 1 foot over top of the knee. And then we'll be taking the opposite elbow to the opposite knee. 20 seconds here. Don't feel like you need to rush this part. You can sit down here for a moment if you want. Feel the stretch and then be aggressive off that foot. Part of the lateral lunge, 10 seconds, is that nice stretch we get. 5, 2. So on our backs, fairly quickly. As a heads up, we're gonna need some discs here in a couple minutes. 1 foot over top of the knee. My right knee is the one that's up. My left elbow then coming to my right knee. Trying to be aware that my right shoulder, the same side of the knee is up, doesn't get pushed into the ground. That arm stays free floating. As I come up, I'm not rolling onto that side. I should be coming up into a crunch. As I lean back, reaching my elbow away from that knee. And the knee's stationary. I'm not drawing my knee to the elbow, right? It's an elbow to knee. Inhale to come back, press the back down. Exhale, come tall. 5. Good, low there. And like the rehab side plank, slowing this one down a little bit and working through kind of each inch of movement makes it a little harder. We tend to fall into the same movement patterns speed-wise. Right, so try a different speed here. Even a little pause at the top, kind of fun. Press that low back down. Allow the rib cage to sprawl open as we reach elbow up. And then work on a little bit of a pierced lips exhale as you come up to that knee. Just create a little more core tension. Next station, it's our first push-up station of the day. I don't know how we did that, but a push-up with a pulse next. 10. 3. Actually, I do know how it happened. My shoulder's kind of funny, as I mentioned, so I thought I might jump in today, so I limited the pressing just to take it easy. 2. There we go. Drop in, have your pulse at the bottom, take the press, nice big exhale at the top. Feel free to load the core pretty heavy at the top, almost like you're going to get into a wheel roll. So heavy crunch at the top, especially if you're looking for a couple less push-ups. Pause up top, squeeze the core. As we drop in, let those shoulders slide down. Integrate the lats, put the brakes on. And the pulse, hopefully a little more than a twitch. Maybe like 3 to 4 inches range of motion in that pulse. 8. And it should be done at the very bottom. So maybe tap your sternum, come up 3 or 4 inches, drop back in, tap the sternum, take your press. Some air here. As mentioned, in a couple minutes, we'll need those sliders. We're going to go hamstring runners. Not next, but we haven't used them yet, so just giving you time to find them. Pulse at the bottom here, take your breaths. And being aware of our chin position. We shouldn't take our chin to the ground first. Chin should be drawn back. Nice neutral spine of the body. You can figure out how to get your glutes active in the push-up. That's great. 20 seconds out. And then we're going into a squat jump. Nothing special about the jump, just nice cadence. Pop, catch, 5. Good, make sure your area is clean. Don't worry too much about height here. Just try to find a movement pattern that you can sustain for 45 seconds. How to get the arms involved. Toss the arms back. And like we do with the band squats, thinking about allowing the knees to slide out a little bit as I squat down. It's likely a bit safer to have the knees slide out versus hinge in as we go to initiate this pop. 15 seconds out. Again, not worried about overall height, just movement here, 10 seconds. Two. Five seconds. Same thing again. After squat jumps, we're going to go right into hamstring runner. If you want to work hard on this double, think about getting more depth in your squat. The more depth you allow yourself to sit into, the more glutes and hamstrings you'll get. So if you're scared of the double, keep the squats shallow. It'll be more quad dominant. If you're looking for extra work, having fun, sit into the hole. 15 seconds. Get the arms active to finish the set. 5. Good on our back. Discs under feet. You know me, you know my hamstring runner is not great. My hamstrings aren't super strong. But I'm doing my best. Keep my butt up in the air as I work on nice big reaches. Feet should shuffle past each other. Full range of motion. As I fatigue, my butt comes down. I maintain those big reaches. Core stays tight. I have as much weight in my heels as I can put into the 10 seconds. Three. Little air. So I would trade you hips on the ground and full range of motion for shorter strides with your butt up. I'm not talking to you specifically, Bethany, just in general. So if my butt up causes very short strides like this, we should then put butt down and push, push, push. And stay heavy heels. After hamstring runner, the second push-up station of the day and the last, slow push-up. We're going to go slow both directions. 15 seconds here. 8, 2. My leg's gonna be worthless later. Might just sit down and coach the rest of the day. Slow push it both ways. Drop in the hole slow, press slow. Don't overcommit to the eccentric component because the speed should be the same both directions. So maybe 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. If you feel good through this slow push-up, spend very little, if any, time in the fully extended position. Speaking of the rest position here, spend very little time here if you feel good. So drop down slow, press slow, don't pause. Right back down, right back up slow, don't pause again. 15 seconds to go. Limit the repetitions. Two. Got push-ups again coming up. 5. Good, nice slow drop. Deliberate on the press. No pause if possible. Check that the rib cage stays tight. We're leading through the sternum here. Chin stays back. Lats are active. All of the normal cues. Next thing, like our first stage, we're going to glute bridge. This time, if we can, now that we're warmed up, we'll single leg glute bridge. 10. Good, rolling backside. If you, like me, just did some push-ups from your knees, hamstrings are probably being active right from that hamstring runner into kneeling push-ups. We'll see how this goes. 1 foot down. If I have the mobility, my foot's anchored to the ceiling. I'm going to press, pause, squeeze. If I need a little bit of assistance in order to get my hips up, I can have my elbows down. But like the first glute bridge we did, feel free to pause at the top for a second. So pause and squeeze. Check the core is tight. Drop down, maybe soft contact the floor. You can be dynamic here in the drive up, but then you have to control that height pause. 15 seconds. So you can be somewhat dynamic up, add the pause, and slow coming down. 5. After single leg glute bridge, 2 things left. 1 core, 1 leg. 5. Doing good on time. 2. We started the day off a little more aggressively than normal, and it's been hasn't been bad since the stupid split squat jump things. that was a hard early station. So in 25 seconds, we're going to go into a side plank with rotation. So we're not going to switch arms there. Same thing, drive quick if you'd like, have the pause, drop down easy. 10 seconds here. 5. Form on the ground, knee if we need to. I'm going to reach under the body, rotate the hips, tuck that top shoulder under, make sure the bottom oblique stays tight. A nice big stretch, real slow, come tall. You can even pause, get that bottom oblique active. Don't worry about the number of rotations here. More so focused on how stable does that bottom shoulder feel throughout all of this movement. Is my oblique on the bottom working? If you feel unstable, you can always unstack your feet. If you are stable, pull those ankles together. 10 seconds. 2. Awesome. Same thing on this side. Watch that top hip bone. Try to put it in motion. Allow it to rotate under or not under the body. One's under, one's over the top, right? So let that hip tip a little bit. Check the oblique, right? Drive the hips here, pause. Reach through. Real slow, get a nice stretch. Come up. Our final station after this plank with rotation, lunging forward and backward on a single leg. Still 15 seconds left here though. 10. 2. And last thing of the day. I myself am going to go body weight. It's probably appropriate for everybody unless you are a monster. 3. So my right leg's going to go forward. I'm going to attempt to get my left knee all the way to the ground. So a lot of depth here on both directions. So kneecap might tap, kneecap might tap. And I've got the opposite arm and leg synced up. On the reverse lunge, find myself leaning forward a little bit, right? On that forward lunge, sit nice and tall. So reverse lunge being more glute hamstring dominant. Forward lunge requiring a little more quad. 15 seconds. Feeling good at this point, go ahead and add some tempo. Drop quick, drop quick. 5, 3, 2. Good. Switch legs. Five seconds out. We'll get into a little stretch together after this. 2. Switch sides again. Maybe tap the kneecap, tap the kneecap. Sink the arms. Reverse lunge, the torso tilt forward. Forward lunge being tall. Drive off the foot. Move the arms together, almost lead the motion through those arms. As we do with most leg drills. Be quick. It'll take me a moment to reset the clock for stretches. Ten seconds. 2. Good. The first stretch, I'll have to reset the clock, but the first stretch we're going to get into a elevated back foot, kneeling hip. So I'll meet you in this position shortly. If you need to double your ab mat, go ahead. We'll go 40 seconds for a stretch, 10 seconds to switch sides, and we'll go in 10 seconds. If you double your ab mat as I am, make sure you know if it's slippery or not. Don't step on it. All right, in this position, like a normal hip flexor stretch, I'm focused on rolling my hip under the body. So get out of this position, right? Get tall, pull the hip bone under. So if this is my femur, I'm trying to roll my hips through. Squeezing the glute on that down knee. Not leaning back here, right? Core stays tight. Roll the hip bone through and hang tight. Should be pretty aggressive. More hip flexor than quad, but a combination of, really depends on where you're tight. 5 seconds. If you got a late start and don't need 10 seconds here, hold on to it for another second or 2. And we'll make a nice quick transition, other side. Sitting nice and tall. Working the hip bone under the body, making sure core stays tight, not leaning back here. $15 seconds. Next exercise, or next stretch, I should say, we'll use the same thing we're using now. We're going to go elevated single leg hamstring. Just 1 foot on that, reach the body over. We usually do single leg seated. We'll do it standing today. So foot on top, nice, easy lean. Let that head drape forward a little bit, right? A little more T-spine stretch there. Just a stretch, so don't forget to kill yourself. I found that not stretching for a week with classes, I got more inflexible. I did not gain flexibility by not stretching. Who would have thought? 15 seconds. And it's weird, if you eat more food, you gain weight. I realized that as well. 5. My food's pretty strict, like 90% of the time here. So as soon as I jump on the carb wagon and eat out and have sodium, it's like a 10-pound gain in a week, really, really easy. Take your time here. Drop the chin if you like that position. "15 seconds out. We'll make this one our last stretch. If you need to do a little core or a little back on your own, feel free. 8 seconds here. 2. Take some air. Thank you for joining, Bethany. Thank you for anybody watching in the future.